Om Shanti. Today in the sweet Murli that Baba has given us, Baba says, forget your bodily relations, bodily religion, and just remember one Baba. I'll read that out to you. Baba says, sweet children, give everyone the message, forget your own body and own all bodily religions, and consider yourself to be a soul, and all your sorrow will be removed. Now the best way to give a message is to be the message. Yes, so if you are in that state of having forgotten your body, bodily religions, and you consider yourself to be a soul totally, then all your sorrows will be removed. Now, why does Baba say that you forget your body and bodily religions? Now, we have kind of had a lot of discussion in previous sessions about why forget the body. Yes, so that's something that's a little clearer. Even if it's hard to practice, at least we understand the why of it. Yes. Now, today I was thinking about this thing that Baba talks about bodily religions. And Baba says, forget the bodily religion. Now, what is a bodily religion? So, in a very gross way, it is when you say, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Sikh, I'm a Christian. That's your bodily religion. Now, why does Baba say you should forget your bodily religion? Is because we have been living in bodily religion for 2500 years. Yes, and those religions are very much responsible for how we see things, how we see relationships, how we see the world. They have a lot of contribution to that. Yes, and I will tell you one very interesting thing, that at least actually two interesting things. So there was this one sister, and she had relocated to a foreign country for like 40 years. So 40 years back, she moved to a different country, and she was Indian by birth and Hindu by practicing religion. But then she moved to a different country for 40 years. And then when she undertook the course, she told me that, Didi, you know, I'm not a religious person at all. Okay, and I am, so you don't need to tell me the religious part of everything. Okay, so you just tell me the practical aspect of knowledge. I don't want the religious part, because I don't think I have any aspect of religion in me. And then she's now in Gyan for 8 years. And you know, yesterday what she told me, I did not know how religious I was until I came to Gyan, and then I slowly, gradually understood that at least 90% of my personality is shaped by religion. And we don't understand that, but you know, we get this idea of how to be a righteous person or an unrighteous person, or every idea about morality, what is right, what is wrong. And it's very subconscious. Sometimes you can't even put a finger on it. But all all the ideas that are lurking inside us about what's my duty and what's not my duty. Now, let me give you one very simple example. Mostly, I will not say always, but mostly it is like when women neglect the house, they feel more guilty. And when men neglect the office, they feel more guilty. Yes, so women are conditioned to believe that this is your primary duty. Yes, this is your first consideration. So, if the child is crying, you attend to the child first and the office next. And a man is conditioned that when your child is crying, your wife attends to the child first and you attend to the office first. Now, this is a very subtle thing. I'm not saying who should, I'm not commenting on that. What I'm saying is, this is a very subtle conditioning that's done into us, and no amount of women empowerment movements you do can stop a woman from feeling guilty. It's not like if somebody gives you the right, you take it. No. If you are feeling guilty about it, you feel guilty about it. Yes, and then what you need to do to come out of that guilt is not somebody allowing you to do it, but you allowing yourself to understand your priorities are different. Yes, and then there is some soul who is right now in a female body, but maybe 10 births in a male body prior to that, and then they have a different sanskar. Maybe that soul doesn't feel the same amount of guilt like other souls in female bodies. Do you get it? So everybody is feeling what they feel because of that whole journey of 2500 years, and there is a lot of conditioning that has gone into that, and this bodily religion about you are a male or a female or a Hindu or a Muslim, or and there was one incident where a brother told me that I was born a Hindu, Didi, and I have this fascination for candles and I don't understand it. So every time there is Deepavali, I want to not light a diya but a candle. And the people around me have an objection to that because they feel that this is against the practice. But that's how I feel like doing it. So all these things are there because religion is something that has shaped our culture and our thought process in very deep ways. Now, similarly, you see that Baba says that you forget your bodily religion because your bodily religion is subconsciously working its way into morality. And what is morality? Your idea of what is right and what is wrong. Okay, what is right and what is wrong? That's morality. And the way we are taught to approach what is right is advocate it, even if you don't practice it. Okay, what do you do to what you think is right? You advocate it. Seldom do we practice what we think is right. All right. And then what we have been taught is, what do you do to what is wrong? You get angry about it. You dismiss it. You violate it. You punish it. And not necessarily you correct it, because nothing gets corrected by using negative energy. But you still continue to get more negative day by day in self-righteousness that I'm doing the right thing by denouncing what's wrong. Do you get it? Is it complicated? So you have this idea of right and wrong, and we have been conditioned that don't necessarily do what's right, but advocate what's right. Okay, if we all did what was right, it would be better, but we don't do what's right, we only advocate what's right, or we teach what's right, or we preach what's right according to us. Yes, so a very classic example of this is you scream at the top of your voice and tell the other person to keep quiet. Why don't you keep quiet? If keeping quiet was the right thing to do, why are you getting so angry in making the other person understand that keeping quiet is right? Why don't you practice it? If you just kept quiet, then everything would be in order. But we don't do that. We preach, we advocate, we teach what's right, but we don't practice it. And the second thing is about what's wrong. We we get angry, we get violent, we dismiss it, denounce it. And in all of that, we create a lot of energy which is negative internally and also in the atmosphere. And that energy never puts anything right, because negativity doesn't have the power to correct anything. But we do that in the name of, I being right and they being wrong. So we say, you are wrong and I am right in being angry about you. Okay, so this is the way we approach it. So this is how morality or religion and how the beliefs about what's right, what's wrong are playing inside us. And what Baba tells us is, you forget all the religions, all bodily religions. And what it means is, in a nutshell, you forget the concept of right and wrong. You forget the concept of right and wrong. Okay? And what do you do instead? You remember that you are a soul and your only religion is purity. So your mind, your words, your behavior has to come from purity. In whatever situation you are, and there is a very good saying in Hindi, Dharat pariye dharam na chhodiye. Dharat pariye dharam na chhodiye, which means even if your head is separated from your your shoulder, so even if your head is cut off, never leave your religion. So Baba also says that your only religion is purity. And no matter what you have been taught, no matter whether it is right according to your religion or not, whether it clashes with what you have been conditioned to believe, just embrace purity. Yes. So even if you are a married person and then the religion says that your duty is to provide lust to your partner, don't honor that dictate of religion. Baba says, don't honor anything that any religion says if it goes against your purity. Purity of thought, purity of word, purity of action. Yes, and sometimes I will give you a very simple example. Religion is not only about what you practice, as a family, or you go to the temple or this or that, but When you go to a workplace, then sometimes, you will be told that your religion is to be 100% committed to your work. Yes, yes, your religion is to be committed 100% to your work. But your religion is to be committed to 100%, committed 100% to your purity first, and then the work. Now, if the work is, if you're stressed about the work, then you're allowed to disconnect, unplug for 15 minutes and meditate. You're not doing it, you're not doing something which is wrong. I will tell you one thing. So, I was once in a meeting, and then there was this question that somebody asked me, that if you start a meeting with meditation and you're meditating for 2 minutes, then are you not using office time? Okay, 2 minutes of office time to do something that's very personal. Okay, and the person was laughing. Of course, it was to put me in a spot, and they come up with these questions. So then they asked me that if you use 2 minutes of your office time to meditate, then is it not going against your religion? That's the office religion says that you use your office time at least 100% for office work. So I said, that's why Baba has told us, forget all bodily religions. And I actually said that there, that we have been taught to forget all bodily religions that clash with our religion as a soul. So as long as the religion of the body is in consonance with the religion of the soul, good, bring it on. But when it is in clash, don't choose that over this. So this is so clear. So Baba has given us a lot of clarity about which to choose, which religion to choose when your spiritual religion clashes with your bodily religion. So when you know that taking a 2-minute break is important, necessary, and it is non-negotiable when it comes to keeping your purity intact, then you take that 2 minutes off. And you are allowed by Baba, even if your officer doesn't allow it. And this brings us to the next thing, which is you belong to Baba. You may work with anyone, but you belong to Baba, and the only one you are answerable to at the end is Baba. So Baba says, don't worry about any authority. Yes, you respect everyone's authority. You don't challenge them, because that's against purity again. So you don't create negative thoughts for anybody. You don't think about challenging anybody's authority. But when the external authority is in clash with the spiritual authority, you choose the spiritual authority, which is Baba, because ultimately you belong to Baba, you are answerable to Baba. Yes, and you don't belong to anybody, you are not accountable to anybody above Baba. Yes, you may be accountable to many people in many capacities, but not when they clash with what Baba tells you to do. Yes, so you can honor everybody's wishes as long as they are in consonance with what Baba is telling you. And when they are in clash, you choose Baba, because that's who you are answerable to. This is something to be borne in mind at all times. And today Baba is talking about, and I also told you, I'll give you another example. So, there was this incident that one sister shared, and it was very, very beautiful. And she said that she met a group of souls who belong to a place in the world where they were raised to be atheists. So they were raised to believe that there is no God. Okay, and then because Baba has his seva in 140 countries and growing, so Baba, and I think with this internet seva, I don't know in how many countries, I don't think that any place in the world is now left to be served, and Baba has given his message in all countries. So there was this group of souls who came from a place where they were raised to believe that there is no God. And then they were introduced to Baba and given the course. And after the course, only after some 1 month of the course, this sister had an opportunity to meet them. And sometimes when you meet a soul in a foreign country, the first question you ask is what religion you practice, because sometimes you have to design the knowledge according to what they practice. Yes, so it makes sense when you give them those examples. So when she came up with that question, so what is the religion that you practice? So you know what they said? They did not say we are atheists. They said we were raised to be atheists, but now we know that we belong to Baba. So this was very beautiful. And so seeing the difference between what you were raised to believe and what is true is knowledge. So that was a very beautiful answer that they gave. They did not say we are atheists. So, like we jump up and say, if somebody asks you, what's your religion? I say, I am a Hindu. No, I'm a soul. So Baba says that those souls came up very instantly with this thing that we were raised to be atheists, but now we belong to Baba. Now we understand that we belong to Baba. So this was beautiful. And then this about belonging to Baba. So I belong to Baba, and everything that I have belongs to Baba. Yes, do you get it? And the most important thing to understand here is that everything you have been given is not given to you as a gift. It's given to you in trust. Yes, and you are a trustee. And I want you to think about this trusteeship today, all day. It's a very important thing to understand. There was this one person once, and he was the owner of a company, and he had some 600 employees under him. And he once asked me, Didi, what is the biggest problem? Didi, the biggest problem I face in running my office is corruption. And he said that everybody, in whatever capacity they are working, they want to do things that do not add up to the profit of the company. And that's where the aggregate suffers. And I don't know how to deal with this corruption. And corruption is ubiquitous, and corruption is everywhere. So what do you do about it? So I said, you stop being corrupt in your personal life. So he said, no, I'm not a corrupt person, and I'm not corrupt in my personal life. So I said, are you not? He said, no, I'm not. I believe I'm not. So I said, let's check that. So you give a person an office, you give a person some money because they have powers and they have financial sanctions. You give a person some authority, and you don't want that person to abuse it. You want that person to use it according to your wishes and desires. Yes? So he said, yes. I said, now similarly, God has given you some things. He has given you a body, He has given you a buddhi, a mind. He has given you money. He has given you relationships. He has given you skills, talents. He has given you various capacities. And He also wants you to use them according to His directions. He doesn't want you to suffer for anything. He doesn't want you to not eat, not have a good life. He wants you to have everything, but all He wants is you stay within the guidelines. So there are certain guidelines, you stay within the guidelines. That's all He wants. But do you do that? So I said, I don't know if God has a guideline. So I said, we'll tell you if you want to know. Yes, so Baba is telling us all the guidelines. He's telling us that what your mind is not permitted to do, what your wealth is not permitted to do. Today, Baba is talking about the wealth, and Baba says, you don't give your wealth to any impure soul. Any person who is under the sway of lust, you don't give your wealth to them. Because somebody who is lustful will always use it for selfish means. And your wealth is not for selfish means, it is for Vishwa Kalyan, it is for world benevolence. So Baba says, you understand this thing that you have guidelines for your mind. Your mind is not allowed to think about a physical body or a bodily relationship or your body. Your mind is supposed to remember Baba, but you overstep. Your wealth is not supposed to be used by vicious souls, but when you are under the sway of attachment, you give it to vicious souls. And then what do? They use that money which could have been used for world benefit, for selfish benefit. And then you are losing out on your punya karam. So Baba says, be very wary of these things. And when you are a trustee according to Baba, then I'm sure that if every soul is acting like a trustee, then you will not face any corruption. You will meet souls who will not cheat you and dupe you. And I will tell you one thing. Once there was this Mata and she made a very beautiful comment. She said that, you know, Didi, we gave birth to children and I have 4 children, but they are not as obedient as Baba's children are to you. So you didn't give birth to any child, but then these children listen to you more than my children listen to me. So I said, that's not because I'm a good parent, that's because I'm a good child. So when you are a good child yourself, you are a good child of Baba, you are doing as Baba says, then Baba gives you very good children. Yes, and it's not about, so when you are a trustee, people will be a trustee with you. You get what you give. And how you conduct yourself with Baba will be mirrored in how everything and everyone conducts themselves with you. And I can give this you in writing, it's my life's experience. I told you, you only belong to Baba, and the only relationship you have to work on is your relationship with Baba. And when you do that, all other relationships will start working themselves for you. Okay, so this is something. And then today Baba says that, and Baba also says something very fantastic today, which is, Brahma Baba did as Baba said, and he used everything he had for world benefit, for seva. And then Baba asks one question today. If he had not done that, where would you be today? So somebody has put in an effort, somebody has done as Baba said, and that's why we are here. So we also need to learn and continue that. This is very important. And I remember that when I must have been in the first standard, I think, or even lower, I think, in upper kindergarten. And there was this drive in our school where we had to plant saplings. And then we wanted to play. And I was very argumentative always. So, as a child, I was very argumentative. So, I wanted to play, and they were forcing us to, go into this planting saplings thing. And then I went to my teacher and I said, I won't go there. So she said, why don't you want to go? It's such a noble thing, there'll be mangoes and you are planting mango seeds today. So it'll give rise to a tree and then there'll be fruits. And then I said, but that tree will not come up when I am here. It will go away. So I will be gone by the time that tree comes. But I want to play today. So she said, but you see, you have trees around you. And there are mangoes and you're eating them, not because somebody thought like you, but because somebody thought like me. So I said, yes. So she said, don't you want to leave behind trees when you go? So I was not sure, but then I bought into it and I planted the saplings that day. But now I understand the importance of planting saplings. So Baba says, you have to plant. If you are eating the fruit of what others did, you also have to do something on your own so that someone else gets benefited. And Baba asks us another question. Can't you hear the cries of people who are suffering insufferable sorrow because of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed? So, don't you hear the cries of people who are suffering intolerably because of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed? You hear a news about a child getting molested or a youngster getting molested or anybody getting molested, and then we feel that it's heinous and it's horrible. Or you hear about somebody stabbing somebody because of anger, or somebody beating up, showing violence because of anger. You feel sorry for them, but then Baba says, Baba has created this whole yagya, this whole study, this whole setup, centers, everything is set up to extinguish this fire of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. And you cannot extinguish that fire until every soul comes to the realization that I'm pure, I'm peaceful, and I'm answerable to Baba. And this is what is being done in Baba's yagya. And Baba says, if you really have any empathy for those who are suffering, then you must do your bit and be Baba's right hand in carrying out his task, which is being done through his centers, through his seva, everything. So this is what Baba says today. And then Baba talks about loving simplicity, because simplicity is your nature. You are a soul and simplicity is one of your virtues. But Baba says external simplicity is compromisable. So, if you are in a situation where you have to wear gaudy clothes or jewelry and go and attend a marriage, That's okay. But Baba says, what can never be compromised is inner purity. So Baba says that you should wear simple clothes and be in simple attire because it helps you stay in touch with purity internally also. External and internal, if they are in sync with each other, it's easier to carry. But when you are in a situation where externally you have to be in a setting where you have to wear gaudy clothes or jewelry and be one of them, look like one of them, then what you do is pay very good attention to your inner purity at that time. And Baba says that's like a challenge for you. And where Baba gives the example of sannyasis, and when sannyasis reach a certain level, then they are, sometimes a sannyasi is sent to a prostitute and they are asked to stay there and be with them and still test their purity, test how firm they are on their purity. Or, where a sannyasi is, a snake is thrown on a sannyasi and then you test their fearlessness. So there are tests which you have to pass, and Baba says we are not we don't do that practice. So drama throws tests at us, but we are not even sannyasis, we are Raj Yogis. So Baba says when drama throws these tests at you, you must pass. And I will tell you one incident. And there was this sister who came to the center, and at that time the center was on the second floor, and she was she had so many tantrums that she complained incessantly about climbing 2 flights of stairs and coming to the center also. And then she came, sat, and she kept complaining about the stairs. And then she said, why don't you have a lift and this and that? And it made me wonder how she ended up being here. And I was very curious. And I said, okay, I understand this went wrong and that went wrong, but I don't want to listen to that. What I want to find out is, how did you come here? So you don't look like a person who would choose to come here. So she said, this is very interesting. So I went to a marriage yesterday, and there was this couple, and they were BKs, and they were practicing whatever you teach for a long time. And what happened is there was a theft in that marriage. And these people were kind of the organizers. So they were they were part of the organizing team. And when there was this theft, what I saw is these people, these two, this couple, husband and wife, they just sat in a corner and they were calm like anything, absolutely peaceful, and they were doing something. I don't know what jadoo tona they were doing. But then after half an hour, things started sorting itself out, and they didn't lose anything. They didn't lose the jewelry. That was one thing, but they didn't lose the calmness. The jewelry came back, the theft was done, and then we found out, and the thief was caught, and all the lost material was got back. But what happened is, in the process, most people in the wedding lost their cool, or they became very upset. But this couple was very cool, and they were so happy at the end, but they were also very happy through the process. And this is what made me wonder that when I go back next day to my place, the first thing I have to go to is a Brahma Kumari center. Okay, so then I said, okay, so this brings you here. So now the first thing you learn is stop complaining about the stairs. So, because you have to go up now and there is no stairs. Until you take the lift, you have to really slog your way up to there. So then she said, okay, I'll stop complaining about that. So this is how Baba says you Take everything that comes your way as a challenge. And when you do that, you not only don't lose yourself, but you become an instrument for seva. Okay? Om Shanti.